Rachel Zegler just keeps making things worse with the Walt Disney Company. The more that she tries to defend this movie, the more that she tries to spew her agenda onto the general public, it's only making matters worse. Not just for Bob Iger, but for whatever is left of the image of Disney as a whole.
Rachel Zegler reveals Disney blacklisted her from Hollywood after the Snow White disaster. Baby, this is the kind of drama that makes Hollywood quake in its boots. We're talking a $200 million project blown to smithereens, diehard fans up in arms, and a once promising star claiming she's been locked out by the very studio that crowned her the next big thing. Sounds too wild to be true. Stick around, because this story just gets deeper and more twisted the closer we look. Rachel Zegler was supposed to be living that real-life fairy tale. A jaw-dropping budget, an iconic Disney role, and the chance to stand shoulder to shoulder with legends. Girl had it made. Everyone expected this live-action Snow White to be a smash. A new chapter in Disney's unstoppable history of reimagined classics. And let's be honest, a rising star like Rachel getting the lead, that was practically a golden ticket to box office glory. But sweet talk didn't last long. The moment people got wind of certain modern changes, the internet started buzzing with doubts. Hardcore Disney enthusiasts grumbled, "Why fix what ain't broke?" Skeptics worried the updated story might bulldoze the innocent magic of the 1937 masterpiece. None of that seemed to faze Rachel at first, though. She was out here giving interviews with a big grin, promising a bolder Snow White for a modern age. Things took a turn when folks realized these changes might run deeper than a simple update. Instead of "Someday My Prince Will Come," we got talk of a creeper prince and an outdated romance. Girl, fans were not having it. The once welcoming audience began side-eyeing the production, and tongues started wagging that this wasn't going to be a fairy tale come true. By the time the early reactions leaked, the tension around Rachel's casting got super thick. Newcomers might have been excited to see a fresh face rewriting the rules, but the old-school crowd felt disrespected. It set the stage for a showdown. Rachel's new Snow White versus the beloved original. And honey, that showdown would bring more chaos than anyone anticipated. But the drama didn't stop at fan gripes. Rachel's own words would soon ignite a fire that even Disney's mightiest execs couldn't put out. Before the film even hit theaters, Rachel Zegler was front and center on every talk show and press junket, chatting about her modern twist on Snow White. She openly called the prince creepy and dismissed the idea of a traditional romance as if it were some cringe relic from the Stone Age. Now, we might all love a little confidence, but what she served in those interviews rubbed folks the wrong way. People took those comments as a slap in the face to the original fairy tale and Disney's classic brand. The internet got loud real quick, flooding social media with "how dare she" posts. Some outraged fans claimed she was trashing the very foundation of a timeless story. Rachel, on the other hand, seemed convinced she was championing a progressive viewpoint, essentially telling the world, "Move over, old Snow White, there's a new star in town." All that chatter didn't just swirl around Twitter. Industry insiders started whispering about how Disney itself was not thrilled with her freewheeling, borderline snarky interviews. Executives have an image to uphold, darling, and Rachel's remarks took aim at a property older than most of us have been alive. By the time the negative reviews started trickling in, her name was practically at the center of every controversy. As the premiere approached, it became crystal clear that the film wasn't just dealing with routine pre-release jitters. Audience interest was waning, headlines were bleak, and the trailer's early feedback screamed disaster. All the while, folks were fixated on Rachel's face, wondering if this new Snow White was the bold visionary we needed or the harbinger of a colossal flop. But trust me, the meltdown wasn't just about Rachel's attitude. Behind Disney's polished facade, chaos was brewing, and it had her name all over it. Now, baby, let me tell you, when a multi-billion-dollar behemoth like Disney smells trouble, the suits in the boardroom start sprinting. You've got Bob Iger and a whole lineup of executives frantically searching for a way to dodge the oncoming train wreck. This wasn't your typical, the movie might tank. This was, we spent hundreds of millions, and we're about to be dragged across every gossip site on the planet. Insiders say the meltdown prompted a flurry of late-night meetings, emergency calls, and hush-hush emails. The bigwigs wondered if the marketing pushed the film's modern themes too far too soon. A chunk of them apparently believed Rachel's interviews made the studio look out of touch with its own legacy. After all, Disney built its empire on these classics, and here was their new Snow White basically calling the original prince a creep. They weighed everything from last-minute marketing pivots to changing the promotional strategy entirely. Some rumored they might bury the theatrical release with minimal hype and shuffle the film onto streaming platforms, hoping audiences would just move on, while Disney refocused on safer projects. But that's a lot of money to sweep under the rug. Honey, so there was no easy solution. Meanwhile, the blame game was in full swing. High-level folks pointed fingers at each other, from script changes to casting decisions. Yet, one name kept popping up: Rachel Zegler. She became the prime suspect in the fiasco, at least in some executives' eyes. If the public was outraged, it had to be because of her outspokenness, right? Well, that finger-pointing led to a bigger bombshell, an alleged blacklist that might lock Rachel out of Hollywood's most powerful circles. Hollywood blacklists aren't a new concept, sugar. They're whispered about more than they're actually confirmed, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. And when someone says Disney has you on their no-go list, that is the cinematic equivalent of your phone going straight to voicemail for the rest of your life. Sources close to Rachel claim she first suspected something was off when calls from certain producers just stopped. Scripts she was eyeing suddenly went in another direction. Even potential deals that seemed rock solid were reportedly abandoned at the last second. She was left thinking, why would these opportunities vanish into thin air? Word on the street is that some Disney bigwigs privately warned other studios and streaming platforms, we'd really rather not see Rachel attached to your project. Did they do it with an official letter? Probably not. But if a colossus like Disney so much as sighs in your direction, baby, you feel that breeze from miles away. A few insiders swear that Disney pinned the blame for Snow White's fiasco on her disrespectful commentary. From their perspective, she single-handedly turned off the core fan base, causing the meltdown they all dreaded. Of course, no one at Disney was about to hold a press conference and say, yes, we blacklisted Rachel. But the silence spoke louder than any official memo. But honey, the story doesn't end with a quiet blacklisting. Once fans got wind of this, social media turned into a battlefield of support, outrage, and everything in between. Social media lit up like fireworks on New Year's Eve. Half the crowd jumped to Rachel's defense, saying she was just being honest about wanting a modern Snow White. Why is Disney punishing her? Others clapped back. Nah, sis, she dissed a classic. She brought this on herself. Meanwhile, industry professionals watched from the sidelines, biting their tongues. Even if some directors or producers liked Rachel, they weren't exactly eager to cross Disney. After all, Disney holds the keys to big franchise budgets, theme park cross-promotions, and streaming deals that can make or break entire production companies. Gal Gadot, who co-starred as the Evil Queen, somehow dodged the avalanche of blame. That's partly because she avoided stirring the pot in interviews and rarely addressed the negative chatter about the film. While Rachel was out here passionately describing her progressive take on the story, Gal kept it chill, leaving Rachel to catch the brunt of the backlash. Fan petitions cropped up demanding Disney stop scapegoating Rachel. A few high-profile YouTubers ranted that the actress was a convenient fall girl for a remake that was doomed from the start, thanks to questionable story changes, toned-down dwarfs, and heavy-handed moral lessons. While the public feud reached fever pitch, rumors swirled that Rachel might not stay quiet for long. What if she fought back with more than just a few tweaks? Rachel Zegler might be in a tight spot, but she's no shrinking violet. Word is she considered talking to lawyers, maybe even slapping a lawsuit on Disney if she could prove they'd been undermining her career. Of course, going head-to-head with a megacorporation is like trying to haul a whale onto a fishing boat. The legal fees alone could bankrupt most folks, and that's before we even get into the emotional toll. Still, if she were to make a legal move, the potential for uncovering internal Disney emails and backdoor deals could be explosive. Studios definitely don't want that kind of dirty laundry aired in court. But Rachel would need rock-solid evidence of an actual blacklist, something more concrete than hush-hush rumors and cancel phone calls. Some independent filmmakers, known for their edgy perspectives and we do what we want attitudes, might see Rachel's predicament as an opportunity. Casting her could be a rebellious statement against big studio politics. Imagine the headlines: Director defies Disney, gives Rachel Zegler a new lead role. That kind of bold stand might just spark the wave of support she needs. But that's if they're willing to risk their distribution deals and future collaborations with Disney-owned platforms. One whisper from the House of Mouse can scare off half of Hollywood in a snap, especially if the project needs wide theatrical releases or promotional tie-ins. While Rachel strategizes her next move, Disney's busy putting out fires on another front. Its entire live-action remake approach is under the microscope. Let's be real, Disney's live-action remakes were once unstoppable. The Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty, and the Beast all raked in buckets of cash. But cracks are showing, honey. The critics are saying the studios become lazy, betting on name recognition to paper over half-baked scripts. With Snow White, they tried to push a socially conscious angle that sounded good on paper, but may have come off preachy in practice. Some folks love the idea of updating old fairy tales for the modern era. Others believe Disney is messing with a cherished formula that shaped entire childhoods. That's a slippery slope. You want to be inclusive and fresh without tossing aside what made the original beloved. The controversy around Snow White's new direction, plus the alleged Blacklist drama, has the corporate brand looking real shaky. Financial analysts are eyeing the bigger picture. If this fiasco keeps playing out publicly, and if dedicated fans feel betrayed, it could hurt not just one film, but Disney's entire pipeline of live-action reboots. Nobody wants another flop, especially not after dropping $200 million on a single production. All the while, Rachel's name remains tangled in the narrative. Whether you see her as the defiant star who challenged tradition, or the actress who arrogantly insulted a classic, she's now the symbol of this messy experiment. With rumors swirling that Disney is cutting her off, the stakes for how the audience reacts to future Disney remakes just shot through the roof. So, with everything on the line, Rachel's career, Disney's pride, and the future of reimagined classics, the question remains, how does this saga end? This entire ordeal, Rachel Zegler's short-lived fairy tale, the Snow White meltdown, and Disney's alleged Blacklist, shows just how quickly Hollywood can turn on you. One minute you're the new it girl with a dream job. The next you're struggling to make phone calls and hearing whispers that the biggest studio in the game wants you gone. Fans are torn between defending Rachel's vision of a bolder Snow White and accusing her of trampling on a cherished classic. Meanwhile, Disney is doing everything in its power to protect its brand, possibly at the expense of a young actress who believed she was just following orders to promote a modern interpretation of a legendary story. Regardless of where you stand, one thing is clear. Once drama ignites in this town, it burns hotter than any fairy tale dragon. Whether Rachel can sidestep a potential industry freeze-out, or whether Disney might eventually welcome her back into the fold, is anybody's guess. But this fiasco has already carved its place in Hollywood lore, reminding everyone that the step from spotlight darling to outcast can be terrifyingly short. One slip of the tongue, one miscalculated marketing push, and baby, it's lights out. Thanks for supporting the Gossip Wire. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more of the hottest celebrity news online.